Hi everyone, welcome back to Cardvoyant. I'm Kris and I am your Cardvoyant, and today we have another learning teaching video with Pam, our tarot learner, who's also my sister. Before we get started with that, I wanted to say thank you so much for all of you who are watching, for everyone that's subscribed. It's been kind of overwhelming, actually. It's been wonderful. I know most of you have come from my sister Kim's channel, and she directed you here, and she's amazing. So I appreciate that. My sisters are the most supportive people, and we try to support each other. So that's what we're doing here today with Pam Learning. I want to mention a few things. No, a couple things quickly. Thank you for all your lovely comments. They've been so supportive and affirming and great. And in answer to several comments, I am going to do, I believe, a question and answer video. So if you have some specific questions about cards, about tarot, about readings, anything that might have come up while you were watching the videos, I will try to answer as many as I can in a video without getting it, too long. I know there are a lot of specifics. I'm sort of hitting the high points or the main interpretations of the cards, but there's so much symbolism in the cards, and it's all very interesting. You don't necessarily need, well, I've said this many times, to know everything to be able to begin, and we'll see that in today's reading. But if you have questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them. I can point you also later in the direction of some books and so forth, but I thought, books can sometimes overwhelm you as well. There's a lot going on in the cards. But again, there's so much personal interpretation in the cards that you don't want to get too bogged down in some of the very detailed symbology, but we'll go through it, and I'm happy to answer your questions. If you have any, like I said, about the cards themselves, about readings, anything you would like to know about tarot, I will try and answer. Just leave it in the comments. The other thing is that few people have asked me about private readings, and we're just getting my website situated so that I can, add private readings to my long-time clientele. So hopefully we'll have that information up within a week, and then it'll be easier, and I'll let you know when it's up and everything, but it'll be easier to book a private reading if you'd like. So that's the main sort of housekeeping things, but hopefully it answers some of the questions that I've gotten, some of the things that you left in comments, and some of the private emails that you've sent me. So about today's lesson and reading. I was able to meet this week with Pam and with Kim in my sister's house. And so we actually did 3 videos, and I'll be posting them over the next few days. But I wanted to get this one up with Pam because I think it's really helpful. It seems to have been really popular to see her reading. The other videos that we did, I did a reading for Kim, and it's actually a past life reading, so you can see how that works. I've been thinking about trying to do just a regular reading on the channel. It's a little bit difficult because, readings tend to be very personal. So I'm not sure how that would work out. I might have to, first of all, have to find someone that would be willing to do it on camera. But also, I'm sure there would be editing involved for, stuff that they may not want the world to see or the world to know. So, we felt like a past life reading was a good compromise. So, and it's kind of interesting what came out. So you will see that. And then the third thing that we did was the 3 of us talking about our spiritual journey and the books and people who have helped us along the way. So I think we had a lot of fun doing it. I think it'll be interesting. I hope that'll probably be the last of the 3 videos that I post. Hopefully that will have meaning as well. In the meantime, we have this video today, and I will let you know that we filmed it at my sister's house, as I said, but on a table that belonged to my great-grandmother. It's a handmade table that's been in our family for a very long time. And we just felt that we wanted to do that there because it has this great energy to it and this great history, this familial history that really means something to us. So we thought we'd do it there, and the energy was great, and it is a fantastic table, so you will see that as well. So the cards are obviously the tool that we're using, but the reading itself is something that intimidates a lot of people. So we're just having Pam, do these beginning readings, even though hasn't gone through the entire course of cards, and she's learning as she goes, even though she's, familiar with some of them. So today's reading is a lot about the reading itself, especially the questions you ask and how to frame the question that you're asking. So this is actually going to be your second reading, the second reading you've ever done. So I wanted to talk a little bit about when you're first starting out and doing readings. Because one of the things that's really important in general when you're doing tarot readings is getting the question right, knowing what you're really expecting the cards to give you. And as you go on and as you learn more and more, it's not that uncommon for me when I read for people to just say, tell me about the next 6 months, or give me a general reading, which is fine. But the first time I ever had that question, it kind of threw me, because I didn't have any idea what they were asking. So what I would suggest when you're first starting out is to think of a question and then try to really narrow it down so that you get the answer that you're looking for. And this is especially true when you're reading for yourself, because you know what you're looking for. So if you can frame the question in a way that it's going to kind of elicit the answer that you're looking for, that will help, like, your spirit guides to be able to answer it for you. So with that in mind, do you have an idea about what you'd like to ask today? Because this is a reading for yourself.
Right. So I know we've talked about this off camera or in private, but I am thinking of making a move, and I'd kind of like to know, figure out a question regarding that. Like, I don't know, maybe time frame, or if it's, what to expect, or what do I need to know, that sort of thing.
Right. Well, I think with a question like that, especially about a move, when you're just kind of wanting to and not knowing a lot of other details, a time frame is a really good thing to try. Okay. So you could give it whatever time frame you want, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, to the end of the year. That's only a couple months. So. But however you want to phrase it. But I think it's a good idea to ask the energy behind the move.
Okay.
And then as you're shuffling the cards, you can ask your guides what you need to know, would be helpful to know, would be good for you to know.
Okay.
And decide beforehand, I think, because this is just a short reading that you're doing about a very specific subject, that how many cards you're going to put down.
Okay.
So I would suggest, 2 or 3. I don't think you probably need more than that.
Okay.
But it's up to you, because it's your reading. So does that sound like it would work? Or
yeah, I think that's good. So the question is something like, what's the energy about moving in the next few months?
In the next however many. Make it specific.
Okay, so like 3 months.
Okay,
say, or
3
something.
months.
Okay. And so then what I need to know, what I know, what is it?
Would be helpful to know.
What would be helpful to know.
Would be good to know, however you want to phrase it.
All right.
So we're going to let Pam shuffle. Take your time, because I will edit out any excessive shuffle,
and I'm super
any
slow,
excessive shuffling that goes on. So, okay.
And there we have it.
Okay, so because Pam's still learning, you've got your book, so that'll be helpful, but you probably are getting more familiar with the cards, so it's fine to just start with that, or use that completely, just what you know already. But if you want to refer to your book, that's fine.
Okay.
So you were asking about the energy behind you moving over the energy over the next 3 months,
Right.
and you've got 3 cards, and you've got the Queen of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. And it's interesting that you've got 2 Pentacles cards, because they're all about, as you know, finances and money and property and things like that. So, Queen of Swords. Go ahead. I'm just going to let you go ahead. You can read it however you want.
So I'm gonna open the book to the swords, but when I first put this down, I felt like this was me.
Okay.
Because I know in the videos I've watched that you've done, you frequently say that the people, when you read, that the face figures or the face cards, a lot of times they do represent actual people.
Yes, but for me particularly, when it's the court cards, then they tend to.
So I guess that's why. But I did feel that when I just first put it down, I thought, oh, okay. Now I'm going to go here and just see what it says. Her right hand raises the weapon vertically, and the hilt rests on the arm of her royal chair. Okay. Widowhood, female sadness and embarrassment, absence, sterility, mourning, privation, and separation. Okay. So maybe it is me. And when I read that, the sadness thing kind of resonated, just because it's been frustrating to not have a place of my own. I'm sharing a place right now. I'm in. So maybe that's what it's referring to. Let's see. Yeah, that's one of the other things it says. Suggest familiarity with sorrow. Her countenance is severe and chastened, and maybe that's me. Maybe that's just I'm in a kind of a depression, not literal, but not clinical, I should say. But
yes.
And that's now. I would say this is this month. I'm thinking this is 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, and that's what I think, because it's like prompted me to ask the question. So, what do you think?
No, I think that's good. What I was thinking is, if you want to go through and then through all of them, then I'll add any other things that I was kind of thinking. But it is more about your own intuition, and not necessarily what I think, but just I'll point out a couple things.
Okay.
That
where I was wrong.
Might helpful. No,
I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
Okay.
So the Nine of Pentacles. Now the Pentacles, I'm going to read these because I'm not as familiar with. I know it has lots of yellow, which we like yellow.
Yes.
Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles is a woman with a bird upon her wrist, stands amidst a great abundance of grapevines in the garden of a great house. Ooh, I like the sound. I like the sounds of that. Prudence, safety, success, accomplishment, certitude, discernment. Okay. So, I think this. I'm feeling like maybe it means that something's going to happen. That some of these things that I've been working on will start to flesh out, and maybe it means that I'll have the money, I'll have the situation to move on.
Right.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay. So I'm going to
and Two of Pentacles.
Two of Pentacles is. I've had this card before, and when you've read for me, I know that. Okay, young man after dancing, endless chord, which I love the infinity symbol. That's one of my favorite things.
I do too. I love this card, actually.
So when I saw that, okay. Let's see. It is represented as a card of gaiety, recreation, and its connections, which is the subject of the design. But it is read also as news and messages in writing, such as obstacles, agitation, trouble, embroilment. Okay. So, the thing that jumped out at me though when I looked at this first, and maybe it's just because, I mean, we both love to travel. So I saw the ships in the background on the water. Oh, I just had a thought though. I'm not sure. I'm feeling like it's saying, part of me feels like, maybe it's just because of my own desire, that I might end up near the coast. And part of me is thinking that it's representing that there's some work involved and some obstacles that will be overcome. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Like I said,
well, lucky for you.
I'm a tarot expert.
Lucky for the next set of videos that I'm doing are about the Pentacles cards.
Oh, okay.
So it's so we're doing this now instead of then, but you will know a little bit more. But I think that what's impressive to me is that your intuition is so sharp when you first look at the cards. And this is where the book isn't quite as, this very small book isn't maybe quite as helpful as some other books might be, or some videos I might mention. But
well, and when it just throws out single words,
exactly,
like it's all happiness, sadness.
Yeah,
it's hard to be
that's
like,
a little bit difficult. So I'll tell you a few things about these cards. First of all, if the first thing that you thought when you saw the Queen of Swords is that it's you, I think that's perfect, and that's obviously true. If that's what you thought, especially when you first see the card, if that's what you think, definitely go with that. For me, when I see the Queen of Swords followed by the Nine of Pentacles, and consider too that the Nine of Pentacles is again in this center of the thing, it's kind of, to me, the first thing I thought of is the Queen of Swords is how you think of yourself. A little bit of the sorrow and the separation, because it talks about the separation, a little bit of like sternness in your life, kind of having to keep yourself cut off almost from the thoughts of, what if, I wish my life were this way or some way right now. So it's a little bit, to me, it felt like you, but your perception of you. I mean, that's exactly what happened. When you turned over the card, that's what you thought. And then I think the cards give an answer. And that's the Nine of Pentacles, which is, no, this is who you really are. You're successful. You can have what you want. You love, nature and animals, and that's all encompassed in this card. And it's kind of saying, it's right there. It's definitely, there may be some things involved, which the next card talks about. But it's more like, this is how you see yourself, and this is how the universe sees you, right? Okay. And then you get finally some instruction. Not finally. There's only 3 cards, so it wasn't that hard to get to.
So waiting for so long.
But then you get an answer. And the Two of Pentacles, it's all the things that the little booklet mentions, but it's the biggest part of the Two of Pentacles for me is always about balance. It's about juggling things. It's about work and home. For you, because Pam is also an entrepreneur and starting her own business, so you have your regular job and you have your entrepreneurial job, and then you have your home life as well. So you're balancing, more than 2 pentacles. But I think this is specifically talking about the job that you have and your company that you're starting, and juggling that and letting you know that if you can look at, especially this is also about like looking at things in new ways to figure out how to best utilize your time. So if you will put some thought into that, keep up, I think it's very encouraging that you're on the right track, that if you could do that and find that life balance, that you'll be closer to being this center figure, which is the Nine of Pentacles. But the Nine of Pentacles is very, very positive. It's saying this is your true self. This is who you are. This is the center of your reading. So I think that's very positive. Now, the part that you mentioned about the boats and the the coast and all that, I think that's also just, you know, intuition kicking in, and the universe answers that as well. If that's where you want to be, that's where you can be. That's why they come up in the cards, you know, because it's so possible. And you recognizing that is sort of like your inner self saying, this is where I want to be. So work to that, work toward that. I mean, because you can definitely do that. So even though I know you're feeling like I didn't know some of this stuff, if you had had a little more, maybe another book, or if you had just seen the Pentacles videos that are coming up, I think you would have recognized that, recognized more completely what the card was about, because I do think you got a lot of it, you know. But what's especially interesting, I think, is that, you know, you only did 3 cards. You had a specific question, and yet it's kind of a broad question, and you got like kind of a pretty specific answer. So what did you think?
No,
Are you encouraged? Or
no, I am, and I know you've said this, I think, on some previous videos when you were talking about the whatever you just did. I'm swords, whatever it was. Anyways, about how, because I was looking at this when I first kind of started as single cards. I was like, and not seeing how they played off each other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, like this, you're like, what you said was, this is how you think of yourself, this is what you can be. I didn't even put those 2 cards together.
Right.
So I think getting more and more familiar with the cards and with just...
And that's honestly all it is, because it just takes a long time to do that. And there's a lot, I think there's times, I'm sure there are times when I've done readings and have not figured it out. I mean, I'm sure most of the time I don't get out of, you know, everything that, you know, you're
trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's trying to tell you. But you do recognize more and more, you know, that it just comes with, like with anything, with a little practice. So, but hopefully you got some practice and also some questions answered. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I liked your interpretation better than mine, but hey, you're the expert. So it was good.
Well, I'm glad it worked out. And we'll do more of these, hopefully, if you're willing. And hopefully you can follow along and see, you know, and learn along with Pam and, you know, the other videos and stuff. But this is honestly, that's the only way you learn, or the biggest way that you learn after starting to learn the specific meanings of the cards, is just to practice. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll follow along and learn more about the Pentacles and watch for other upcoming videos. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.